With the start of June this year, I decided to start my first hardcore Minecraft world for this channel. That world lasted about 17 minutes. 2 baby zombies trapped me in a mineshaft and ended the world before it even had a chance to really begin. After that, I genuinely questioned whether or not I was cut out for hardcore Minecraft at all. But the more I thought about it, the more I knew I wanted to give it another shot. And now, after the first few days in this new world, I can honestly say it couldn't have started much better. Why? Because I've managed to solve what I think are the 3 biggest problems in the early game of Minecraft: shelter, protection, and food. In hardcore Minecraft, one death is all it takes. Lose a fight, make a mistake, get a little too confident, and the entire world is gone forever. When I first heard about hardcore, my reaction was pretty simple. Why would anyone be willing to do that? And honestly, I'm not sure I even have a complete answer to that, but I'm hoping I'll find it by seeing how long I can keep this world alive. So let me take you back to day 1. This world started me on top of a tree, which was actually a pretty nice start. I gathered enough wood to get moving, upgraded into stone tools, and started collecting whatever resources I thought I'd need to survive that first night. Because after what happened in my last world, nothing mattered more to me than making it to sunrise. The sun started setting faster than I would have liked though, and I knew I needed shelter immediately. So I threw together a small tent and hoped it would be enough. Thankfully, it was. The first night came and went without any disasters, and when the sun rose the next morning, it felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. The first problem had been solved: shelter. But surviving one night isn't enough to call a hardcore world a success, is it? The next problem was protection. I needed better tools, better armor, and a way to gather resources without putting myself in unnecessary danger. My plan was simple: dig a mineshaft directly beneath the tent and hopefully avoid cave diving entirely. Unfortunately, Minecraft had other plans. After starting the mine and digging to a good depth, I broke into a cave anyway. And after losing my previous world to mobs trapping me, a cave wasn't exactly where I wanted to be. Thankfully though, the cave wasn't too hostile, but there were definitely a few moments that made me nervous. Still, I managed to gather everything I needed. By the time I returned to the surface, I had enough iron for a full set of armor and upgraded tools. Just like that, the second problem was solved: protection. That only left the third problem: food. Now, technically, I could have survived just by making some simple crop farms alone, but I want to approach this world slightly differently than I usually do. So I broke the goal into 3 smaller steps. The first was creating crop fields. And across the river from my tent, I found a set of beautiful rolling hills that immediately felt like the perfect place to start. The only issue was the entire area was covered in massive gaps and exposed caverns. So before I could build anything, I needed to reshape the land itself. Over the next few days, I filled holes, leveled terrain, and slowly turned the area into something more usable for me. Once the land was ready, I planted my basics: wheat, carrots, and potatoes that I gathered from a nearby village. I even planted a few pumpkin seeds so I could continue expanding later. And while the crops were growing, I moved on to the second step: building a farmhouse. I've always admired Minecraft players who build their worlds to feel like real places. A field of crop exists because someone works the land. And if someone works the land, it would make sense that they'd have a farmhouse nearby. That's the approach I wanted to take here. I gathered some reference images, planned out the build, and got to work. The foundation used a deep slate to cobblestone gradient with an oak frame and a spruce roof. The only thing that was missing was the spruce wood itself, which meant setting out on another small adventure to gather it. Once I returned, The roof went on, and the farmhouse was finally complete. And for the first time, this area felt less like a temporary survival camp and more like the beginning of a real world. That brought me to the third and final step of solving food: animal farms. Even though the crops were growing nicely, I didn't really feel like my food situation was complete until I could start producing the best early game food: steak. This time, though, I wanted the animal pens to fit more naturally into the world around them. Instead of packing everything into the smallest space possible, I gave the animals room to roam and made the pens feel like they belonged beside a farmhouse and fields. Once the pens were finished, I tracked down animals to populate them and started growing my herds. And just like that, the final problem was solved: food. A week earlier, I wasn't even sure I was capable of playing hardcore Minecraft. Now I had shelter, full iron gear, fields full of crops, a farmhouse overlooking a beautiful river, and animals roaming nearby. For the first time, I felt like this world might actually have a future, unlike my last one. And if this is how the world started, I can't wait to see where it goes next. If you'd like to follow along with me on this journey, consider subscribing so you don't miss future episodes. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and have a good one.